Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today's episode is going to concentrate on the reassembly of the clocks. Now I've got all the parts and everything's been refurbished, but before I go on to that, this is the first video that I've done since I had the operation I was talking about, so I can't do anything I can't go around lifting heavy objects, that type of thing at the moment, so I thought I'd just get back into the swing of it by doing something nice and light like the clocks. And on that note, I'd just like to thank everybody for their well wishes. The operation went fine, so obviously I'm back at it, so thank you very much for that. And also I'd like to say a big thank you to all of my subscribers. Nice surprise when I came out of hospital was that the channel's just tipped over the 500 subscriber mark, so it's nice that people are getting something out of the videos I'm doing and enjoying what's watching the channel. So without further ado, let's get on with putting this together. Right, so these are all the component parts. The bits that needed zinc plating I've re-zinced. I've got a new solution, I've redone those. This I tried zinking it and it just didn't work. It went almost black. It was very strange, but anyway, got a new zinc solution that seems to have sorted that problem out. The outer casing has been sprayed a satin black. The screws and bolts and everything have all been cleaned up. Bulbs have been checked. Wiring loom's been cleaned up. Glass is all clean and sorted. And then that brings us to the dial faces and what I'm going to do with those. So I think what I'll probably do is, the only thing I did of course was in the previous video I did zero the mileometer as well. So if you want to know how that's done, if you check out one of the previous videos on the playlist, that's on there. So I think what I'm going to do is clear the decks, get rid of all of this, and we'll start with the dial and taking a look at that. I have bought a new crimp ring that goes around the outside because the other one, where is it? There we go. The other one was so badly damaged that I didn't think it was worth reusing that. So I bought a new one of those. And again, if you've watched the other episodes, you'll know that the clocks that came with this bike, although it's a 76 bike, it had 77 gauges with it. So I've bought the overlays for the 75, 76, which is the apple green colour instead of the blue. But the original one I got, the cutout for the odometer or mileometer didn't line up. This one does, but the previous one didn't, because for whatever reason on the 77 bike the odometer was roughly in the same place but a good few millimeters out. I think it was further up that way, so this didn't fit. So the guys from Classic Gauges have been very helpful, and they've made me what effectively is a replica of the 77 gauge in mile per hour, but with the odometer cut out in the space for the 77 gauge. So big shout out to them for doing that. Right, I'm going to clear the decks and then we'll crack on. First job then is to put the overlay onto the top of this. The instructions say what you can do is you can take off the original screen printing and just leave it looking like this. The idea being that when the bulbs shine from behind, they shine through these. I've decided against doing that because I'm not going to be riding the bike at night unintentionally, or intentionally I should say. So based on that, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just get this stuck straight on there. So a bit of brake cleaner, and we'll give this a clean. So make sure this is spotlessly clean and dry, so that with no greasy residue on it. So the overlay's got half a decent chance of sticking to it. Okay, so I'm basically going to have one chance at this, I reckon. So I've got to get this right. Now, what we've got here is that little protrusion, which is the needle stop. These gauges don't come, I don't know why, they don't come with a hole cut out for that, and it doesn't mention it in the instructions either. So what I've done is I've got my smallest hole punch and I've created a hole where it needs to go. So what I've done is I've basically laid this over, pushed it down with my thumb so I could see the imprint of where that was, cut that out with the smallest hole punch I've got, which looks a bit big, but actually if you look at the bottom of this, there is a wider platform that it sort of sits in. So when that goes over there, it lines up perfectly. When you peel this away with the edge of a scalpel, and that is properly sticky. Okay, I'm going to try and do this from the centre outwards. Apologies if my head gets in the way, but obviously I need to be over the top of it so I can see it's going on properly. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to smooth that out. Make sure I've got no bubbles in there. Let's move that out of the way for a second. Okay. Not quite sure of the orientation of that at the moment. Needs to go in. And then that's followed by this white bezel, and the hole obviously needs to line up with the hole there for the trip reset to go into. I don't know if I mentioned it by the way, but this, when I was taking these apart, oops, I wasn't too sure whether this rubber just sat on the top, but it's actually a sort of like a U-shaped rubber, so it actually sits around the lip of this. They're in good condition, so they can just go straight back on. And then we've got the reassembly of the unit itself. Okay, so I've just given that a clean up in the wire wheel, and then that drops in like so. Couple of screws. Now our dial can go back on. A couple of tiny screws. There we go. So I don't know if you remember when we took this off, I had to make a mark to say where this needle, the orientation of this needle, because you don't just put it on and it sits on the edge of the stop. It comes around this side of the stop, and then you effectively flex it over there so it sits against it. That I think is that little mark there, which is pretty much worn away when, of course, when I've re-zinced this. So we're just going to sort of play that by ear, but we're going to be pretty close. We're just going to drop this on, and it was sort of something like that, maybe slightly further round, somewhere like that. Okay, so all I'm going to do with this now is just very gently on those little silver bits. I don't want to press down on the arms themselves in case I snap them. I'm just very gently on the silver bit there. Push that down. It's just an interference fit, and then it's a question of just lifting this over that needle stop without damaging it. Like that. And then what should happen, so just need to make sure the needle isn't catching on the screws and it's not been bent enough that it's touching the dials. These needles, by the way, I have refurbished these in as much as I have touched in the end with some fresh red paint. It's perhaps slightly darker than I would have liked. It would have been nice if it perhaps matched the red on there, but I'm sure that'll soon fade anyway. It's one of those things, you look at it now when it's because you're really scrutinising it, but once it's back on the bike and it's all done, all you'll see is a refurbished clock. So yep, that's basically that. Happy with that, as long as it clears all the way around there, which it does. Nice damped movement all the way back, and obviously we've got our reset trips there as well. Okay, let's get it back in the case. Okay, so that rubber seal around the edge has got a little indent in it, and there's one in the case on both sides. That just sits in there, which helps align all of that, like so. And then I don't know if you remember the last video, but this has got a thread in it and screws into this. There's nothing in the end to hold this in. Hopefully this will go through our new grommet. There it goes. Right, let's get the grommet lined up. Okay. Grommet's possibly slightly too large, but it's got a bit of silicone oil around it in a minute, so it's slipping. But yeah, that's basically how that looks. If I can get a new one of those, I might do, because it's a little bit chewed up. But it's fine for the moment. So yeah, that's basically how things are going to look. So I'm pretty chuffed with that at the moment. So then we've got our new ring, which has to go on. And I think I've just realised a mistake. I probably shouldn't have put those on by the looks of it at this point in time, because now I can't get the ring on. So they're going to have to come back off for me to put the ring on. So I'll do that. We'll come back when I'm done. We've got there in the end. So now it's a question of crimping this down. I think that's going to be easier said than done. Don't know what this band's made of. It could be stainless steel. If it's stainless steel, it's going to be quite difficult to crimp over. Let's have a look. try and get sort of 4 equidistant parts of it bent over first, if I can, and then I can start to go around the rest of it. Okay, so what I've done is I've just tapped that ring down in a few places around the edge for now, just to hold it in place. So it's in place, and I've got the hardware to go on the back, but that's just a reversal of how I took it off, so I'll get on with that. Okay, so on the Speedo, the bulb's going like so, and then these rubber, I guess these are anti-vibration rubbers, fit in like that. And then you had, what do we have here? One of those in there, another one on the other side, like so, and then they went over like that. Then we had one of these on that side, little plate on that side. Okay, we've got 2 washers here. Clearly didn't go over those. Might have been something to do with those, or possibly there was something to do with those holding that in. I need to refer to my photo to find out where they went. But we've got a nut on there. We've got our nut on there. Okay, so there you go, one refurbished clock. That looks pretty good to me. I'm happy with that. We've just got the large rubber bezel that sits in. Then obviously, which we'll look at next, the other part of this is the chrome outer bezels themselves, which have a substantial rubber ring, damper, whatever you want to call it, in there, which looks like this. These ones are obviously quite they've just perished over the years, so I won't be reusing these. I think you can get some for the CB750 clocks that I believe are the same as this. I have also seen, I think I mentioned it before, people use inner tubes for this, so I think I might go down that route and see what that looks like, and if it looks fine, I'll do that. If it looks a bit rubbish, then I'll see if I can get some new ones. But basically, these sit in there like that, and then the clock sits in there on top of those, so something like that. So these are obviously all perished. I'm going to have to replace these, but you get the general idea. So I think once that's back on the bike, we've got a nice new ring in place, nice new face, refurbished needle, reset. Yeah, I'm going to be happy with those. So I'll crack on and get the tachometer done, the rev counter done, and the fuel gauge. And yeah, I think that's it for those. I'll show you a picture of them when they're all back together. So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.